Hello everybody, this is Juan from Juan's Garage, and today's garage tip of the day is going to be how to replace the keyboard panel in your door, your Ford series of cars. Typically, this is for 2017 Ford Explorer, but how to replace this guy here. So now, whoops, see if we get him right up. Okay, there he goes. Okay, when the door is unlocked, it's not going to light up for you. But anyway, this guy here was broken, and I replaced it, and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, we'll see you soon. Okay, so today's job is to replace the key panel on the driver's side door of the Ford Explorer. To do this job, you're going to need a 10mm socket, 7mm socket, short extension, needle nose, a Torx, I think it's a T20, scraping tools, a little screwdriver as always, and your collection of removal tools. This guy here is going to be really needed because you need something firm to pry the door panel off. And as always, a screwdriver. One more thing, if you have it, a heat gun. I'll show that later, but these are the tools you're going to need to do the job. Okay, to get to the bolt back here, you have to, it's easier to pull the door handle, and you see this little corner up here? Take your prying tool and just kind of pry that out. Whoops. It'll fall out. And you have the bolt in the back, okay? So you got that bolt there. You have to pry these up, okay? I'm not gonna pry them up now, but we'll show you later, but it'll pry up. This section will pry up, okay? And then you have the other two screws here and here. Okay, on the door. Now you're going to need a really firm tool to get this big panel off, okay? So you're going to need, I think it works out well if you use the stiffer screwdriver tool, but use something stiff to get in here. You have to really jam it in. Or maybe try something. Oh boy, it really is hard. I can't remember which one of these. There we go. So you jam it in, pull it out where you can see where the fastener is, and then put this stiff guy, shove him in there where the fastener is, and pop it out, okay? That's the way to do that. All right, so you're gonna have to take this button controller off. You have points here, in between the two buttons here, and right at the center of this button, and on the other side. Take your prying tools, pry them up, okay? And one in the back, and don't forget the one on the bottom, okay? Stick it in here and pry it up so you can get this guy out. Disconnect this guy. There's a little clip here, push him in so you can pull him off. Then you can take the door off. Once you take the door, it's gonna be hard. These things are on pretty snug. So you're gonna have to take a firm prying tool to pry it up, okay? And take this guy off, of course. He's got a pin here, and then one there. So take your prying tools, pry it off, it'll come off. Putting it back, repeat the process. Now, make sure when you put the door panel back on, you lift it and kind of tilt it to seat it. And you'll see a thin metal rail here, okay? So you want to get the door behind that rail and then let it rest on it so there isn't too large a gap. And when you put it back together, it'll seal nicely, okay? Everything will seal nicely. Here's my little corner piece. I'm gonna put him back on. and they snap right in, and everything looks pretty good again, okay? Okay, so I already took the panel off, but I'm gonna show you guys some things. This is your access to get into your connector for your keypad, and you'll peel this back and you'll go inside up in here and you'll see the connector, okay? You'll feel for it, all right? We'll see that later when I reconnect it all. So if you take this and when you put it back together, just put this on nicely here. Try to put it in place where it went. You'll see these little tabs. Make sure you can pull your plastic up so that it goes back where it should. When you pry the door off, there are connectors here, and down here, I believe. They're gonna be hard to pry off, just so you know. So it's not an easy job, but take your time with it, pry it up. The cover here pries off up here, and it sticks with the door panel. So here's your door panel right here. There is a trick to taking the lock actuator off of this guy right here. You just have to squeeze these two tabs with some needle nose pliers, and you can pull it off where it's seated, okay? And then you can put your cable back in here, all right? If these little fasteners come off, sometimes they come off and they stick in the holes, okay? Just pull them out and slide them back in. Remember, there's a little gap here, so you don't make it flush. You have it stand off a little bit there. And then you have these two connectors. They're kind of self-explanatory. One connector goes to the forward, and then here's this aft. The larger connector will go underneath this part here, and it's gonna plug into your button control. Okay, so you're gonna have to pry this guy up too. He's not that easy. He doesn't come off very easily, but you can take your tools and pry them up. I have a set of different tools that I use. I'll show you those later. But you take your slim plastic tools and you pry these up carefully. Down below there's an area you can stick one of your prying tools and pry it up, and it'll come off, okay? So now we're gonna put the door back together, put it back on. Okay, with the battery still unplugged, so you don't have power going to this thing, get your plug that feeds the keypad. This is your existing keypad, right? Going up to the door, up to your panel. And take your replacement. So before you go through all the trouble of installing it, plug it in and test it just to make sure that you're on the right track, okay? So I'm gonna plug this in and I'm gonna connect the battery temporarily, and we'll see if this thing lights up. Okay, there you go. Seeing that we plugged in the new keypad, it's gonna work. So now we can go on to the next step of removing the existing broken keypad. You always want to do this because if you go through all the trouble of replacing your keypad and you find out that there's no difference, then maybe the existing one is working and your problem lies elsewhere. So when removing the existing keypad, it's on there pretty good, so you might want to take a stiff tool and see if you can't get it started, maybe up here somewhere, okay? And start prying it out. And This could get ugly. We're gonna find out. All right, so I'm gonna start taking this off carefully, step at a time, and I'll show you guys how it turns out. All right. So I've seen other videos where people talk about the touch panel breaking, and it probably is pretty easy. These things aren't really tough, but as you take it apart, go easy with it and take your prying tool and break that glue that's right here. Just stab into the glue and take your time, and so it comes off and it doesn't put a whole lot of pressure. And do it on both sides. As you pull this down, you know, I'm gonna have to use 2 hands to do it, but you see how that glue starts to come up? Now if you pry it and get the glue exposed and then stab at the glue with your prying tool, you have a good chance of taking this whole unit off without it breaking on you. There's a small Torx T20 screw right here. You want to take that off so that you can get this to flex up a little bit, okay? And then you can take this guy off much easier because he is tucked a little behind this trim, all right? So once you take it off, kind of looks like this, all right? And now you can pull the cable out, and there you have it. So here's the old one, okay? Now something about these, and I might have mentioned it earlier, is that you can buy these on Amazon, but for whatever reason, people complain about Amazon, the units there, they fall off or whatever. So I bought mine from, and I'm not marketing for them, I bought it from Rock Auto, okay? And you see the little tab and the numbers and so forth. It might be a better build, I don't know, but we're gonna find out. But anyway, so now that you got it off, it's time to clean the surface off. And that is a huge reason why it might fall off for some other people is they don't clean this stuff off. You have to clean this off really good so you have a nice smooth area for the double-sided tape to cling onto. I don't know what this is here. It might be another tab, but I'll have to pry that out. You have another one here that glues onto it. So we'll see. Alrighty, we'll get right to it. I'm gonna scrape this off. I think acetone might work to clean it off really good. My wife's got some fingernail polish remover that usually works pretty good for that. Okay. Well, taking this stuff off is not easy. Here I cleaned it off with some nail polish remover, but you get the majority off like this, okay? When you peel this thing off, there's a lot of gooey stuff going to be left on. So if you can, take a heat gun. I got this one here made by Weller. It localizes it and heat up the point where right where it's at. If I turn this on, it's going to make a racket. But it heats it up localized, and then you just take a little off at a time, and you'll get it done. Just take your time with it. Ultimately, you have to have a super clean surface. Don't use metal because you'll scratch the paint off. But clean it off. And this is the stuff I'm using. I'll demonstrate later. Thanks to my wife, I borrowed her nail polish remover. But that works really good to get a nice clean surface. So I'll show you guys afterward, okay? So once again, the trick is heat gun, put it on it, and then let it just inch it at a time, take it off. Be patient because that's gonna pay off. That's probably why a lot of people complain about these things falling off, because they don't clean the surface perfectly so that when you put the new one on, it doesn't adhere properly. Okay, here we go. Okay, now with some acetone-based polish remover on a towel, you can see the stuff will come off pretty well. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna need 2 hands to do this. So there you go. So your panel's gonna look like this. Get as much as this sticky stuff off, and then come back with some acetone on a paper towel or something, and on a shop towel, and then just wipe it off. Okay guys, so having used this, now I'm not marketing for this nail polish remover, but my wife has it and it works really good, comes in handy. So now you can see the pillar is nice and clean. After using the polish remover, you want to take a paper towel, shop towel, soak it with water, wipe it down nicely, or a sponge, and then take a dry paper towel and take it off. Don't get any oil or any of your fingerprints or anything on that. You want to keep it as dry and clean as possible, so that when you put the, well, let's test it first before we stick it on, okay? So next thing is we're just gonna do something called dry fitting. We're gonna dry fit, we're gonna put the new keypad in place, and we're gonna try it. Okay, so you're gonna feed the cord down in here where it came from, and you see the tabs here, okay? And the other tab here. They're gonna go into these slots respectively. All right. So don't pull the backing off of the tape yet. Just dry fit it. Make sure you get an idea how it's gonna go. Down in here, remember the trim that you took the screw off? This keypad has to go behind that trim. So don't pull your plastic protective paper off until you're ready, until you're done with the job. But let's see if we can get this back here. Pull this back a little bit. Let that fall in. Make sure it's in behind this corner too, okay? There you go. Here. And you might have to reach up inside of this guy to grab your, that's the connector you're going to plug into. The other connector, where is it at? Where did it go? Here he is. Okay, I have him. He's in here. Okay, you guys can't see him, but he's in there. I move this grommet out of the way because it makes life easy. Okay, see, that's the plug from your new cable, okay? So you're gonna connect them inside the door. Reach inside all the way. There shouldn't be anything there, but there's a little clip in there. Gosh, this is gonna be pretty bad. Might have to edit that. So, okay, I'll show you guys later. All right. So we are dry fitted. We're behind the trim piece here. Okay, I'm gonna pull this back. Okay. Now when this goes in, there's a lip here. You wanna kind of set it in so it hugs the lip, and it'll go inside the slots, and then press it and snap it in. And this red tape stuff should hold it pretty good. All right, here goes for all the marbles. Now it's time to reconnect the keypad. Now this is the connector, and with that connector, it comes with this little, I'm gonna call it a fastener here. So inside of your door is a little metal clip. I can't see it in here, but it's just above here. If you take this grommet loose, this is your door lock actuator. Just take this grommet loose, and inside here, you'll feel the little hole where this, where's it at? This little guy plugs into, okay? And in here is the receptacle. So before you seat the receptacle back in, you may go ahead and plug it back in together, okay? Here's this guy here, you can kind of see him. Plug him in and then seat the connector back in its holder so it stays in place and it doesn't get caught when your window slides up and down, all right? So I'm gonna do that next. Okay, it may be hard to see, but here's the grommet and here's your connector. Okay, so it's all back together now, okay? Now when you plug that connector in, make sure you hear that nice little snap so it's in and it locks in, okay? Now before we put it all together, I'm gonna hook up the battery temporarily to see if that keypad lights up. Okay, I just plugged in the battery temporarily and it lights up. So it looks like we're in business. Now what I can do is I can press the 7 and the 8, see if it locks the doors. Okay, maybe I'm not at that point yet. Might have to fumble with this thing for a minute. Okay, so that was it, guys. Pretty easy. Well, actually took a little time, but tested how it works. There it goes, locked. And then I want to share my code with you guys, otherwise I'd punch it in and unlock it, but it does work. Okay. All right, you guys. Hope this helped out. There are a few points. Be careful, take your time, and remember to share what you know. You know, sharing makes us all smarter, better, and saves us money. Have a great day. We'll see you guys.